going on, folks? Another episode of Ryan Reviews Everything, and bro, definitely a great episode. I think the Chi has been delivering every episode week after week, and I can't say there's been a bad episode yet, especially for this season. So let's get into it, man. We definitely see the reason why we're all here. You know, we got to see the aftermath after Pastor Stanley passes away. And of course, clearly, we see Big Papa is all distraught for good reasons, obvious reasons. Same thing with Bakari, and I'm not gonna front. The actor's name escapes me at the moment. I'm gonna have to put it in post. But dog, that's the most emotion I've seen out of him since he killed Ronnie. And even when he killed Ronnie, that was more out of like vengeance and anger or whatnot. That guy, he really did that role. Stepped up to Nuck, had the gun out, crying, looked like he was ready to go down and at least take Nuck with him. But man, I thought that was an awesome just display of, you know, mixed emotions, anger, sadness, the revenge, all that, you know. Just beautiful, you know, as far as the performance, that man really did this thing. So, of course, it's obvious when it came to Papa's sadness, and I am going to skip around, you know, and keep it along with Papa and Bakari feeling so broken up about this. That the speech that Papa gave at his father's funeral, that was hard to watch. I mean, it was a beautiful speech, but just the emotion and everything that was occurring, that was tough. Like, I can't even front. Like, I didn't cry, but I was, you know, it was close. I had to hold back some tears. That was tough, especially he couldn't even get his words out. He's crying, breaking down. Of course, his, you know, lifelong friends, Kev and Jake had to come in and support. That was just an all around beautiful scene. And speaking of this all around, you know, I wouldn't be surprised, especially being the reoccurring theme so far. At least one of them definitely seems to be therapy. I wouldn't be surprised if perhaps we see Papa go through therapy at some point. And, you know, and I'm not talking the group men's therapy. I mean, maybe some one-on-one therapy in terms of handling the loss of his father. I think that would be beautiful to see. So once again, speaking on that theme, they're really doing a great job of showing some in-depth dialogue when it comes to therapy and everything else. And that was, I ain't gonna front. Like, I know therapy is supposed to be good and things like that, and I'm sure it is. But it was almost after that, after Kiesha and her mom, Nina, are having that therapy session, it almost felt like it made things worse. You know, like Kiesha couldn't get over the fact that perhaps maybe her mom didn't want her because she really initially didn't want kids. It was more, that was kind of the expectation when Nina was growing up. You find a good man, you get married, and you have your kids, and that's just the way it is. You know, and it really shows as if there was some type of regret. Nina said she wanted to travel the world. She wanted to, you know, explore her sexuality and things like that. So once again, I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of tough conversations to have, and, you know, and especially, you know, people of color, I feel like we shouldn't be afraid to have tough conversations. And I thought that was just a great example of that, you know. So now that the awkwardness and the hurt has shown up between Kiesha and Nina in that therapy session, just like the therapist said, now we can heal. Now let's try to build each other up and heal. So we'll see how that goes, you know. But overall, beautiful scene. I'm loving how they're just really going in depth with therapy. You know, one thing I am surprised at, especially being that Kiesha is trying to emphasize, you know, open and honesty, she kind of contradicted herself a little bit. She didn't tell Emmett that she hit up Nuck and met with Nuck just to try to, you know, let Nuck, hey, I need y'all to look out for us because we not built for this life. That's just the short paraphrase version, you know, and I like that Kiesha is really, even though I disagree with her, you know, contacting and meeting Nuck without letting Emmett know. I disagree with that part. But I'm not mad at Kiesha once she was having an actual conversation to remind Nuck, you know, he's all like, I'm gonna look out for you. You know I got you. And it's like, nah, you didn't look at me for the first time. That's how my behind got kidnapped. So all in all, I thought that was cool. For the exception of not telling Emmett about it in the first place. You just feel like I'm just handling myself, I guess, So yeah, that was pretty interesting to see, man. And yeah, I really think that's so. I mean, he wasn't in this episode a lot, but that's some cold stuff, man. Like, you sent the hit out on Stanley, and then you show up to the funeral in all white as if you're in support, and everybody in the building knew you had something to do with it, and you're still showing up, and because hell, nobody's gonna do anything about it anyway. So, well, at least for now, we'll see. Oh yeah, and also on top of excuse me, and on top of Duda showing up to the funeral, it's like I'm surprised no one really caught the real meaning behind what Duda is saying. You got Nuck and Duda playing chess, and you got other homeboy who's like the most experienced carjacker in the world, and they're playing chess, and I'm surprised no one peeped what Duda said, or at least had some type of reaction to it. It's they're playing chess, and Duda is like, that's your problem. You want to protect your queen. You got to know sometimes you got to sacrifice your loved ones in order to win the game. And it's like, this whole gang stuff that Duda got going on. They all supposed to be family, right? They all supposed to look out for one another. And then you hear Duda say some stuff like, sometimes we got to sacrifice in order to win the game. Dang, there was so much to get into in this episode, man. We got Jake having the conversation with Victor. And Victor finally opening up to trust his brother with some things, I thought that was dope. There's some turmoil between Gemma and Maisha. Maisha clearly doesn't like this competition of Bakari's sister. Speaking of that, Jake don't like Bakari's sister like that neither. I do feel like that might be a threat in the relationship. It's, of course, yeah, although Gemma is with Jake, who, it sounds like Bakari's sister is still shooting shots. And, of course you're going to try to act tough, but Jake even was like, hey, make sure it's about music. Make sure she's all about music and she ain't trying to shoot her shot, so I ain't mad at it. We have Victor, talking to the people, talking to his girlfriend's mom, things of that nature. Looks like he's looking to start a family, and who knows, entertaining the idea of, being married, trouble in the household with Shad as well. And, Shad moved them guns out, gave them back to Bakari, and not nighttime, not daylight, but just out in the open. And speaking of the whole guns, giving it to Bakari and all that, that's something that's, how can I put it? I guess you could say predictable. I'm sure Jamal some way, somehow is going to find out that his little sister is keeping guns stashed in the house. And that ain't going to be a good look for Bakari. I'm sure that's going to happen. Jamal's about to find out, and he's about to confront Bakari on some man-to-man stuff. So that'll be interesting to see as well. I'm trying to think, was there anything else, man? It felt like it was so much, man. So much to get into it. Again, a great episode. I'm really looking forward to seeing what we have next. I believe it's 10 episodes this season. So I can't wait to see what we have next, because I can't see everything getting wrapped up next week. So I'm assuming it's 10. But dang, man. Hell of an episode. Once again, a hell of an episode. I'm loving it. This is must-see TV for me. And hey, love it or hate it, that's my review. Peace.